A beautiful lady with 2 guns at her sides smiles while walking towards a big competition building. She passes empty buildings and thinks about the city's past, which used to have many people. Climbing the stairs, she remembers her dad's tough training and how he picked her younger sister for the big family competition. She seemed okay with it, but secretly had a plan. She used her sister's love for hunting to push her into proving herself. This harsh training led her sister to a tragic end, and she took her place in the competition. Entering the room with confidence, she meets 11 other fighters and introduces herself as the family representative. She looks around for danger and is surprised to see a dead fighter and another with a bloody sword, but she's focused on the contest. The host, Juuni, welcomes them and tells them to swallow a jewel with poison. They need to win to get the cure. After explaining the rules, he leaves and the fight starts. One fighter suggests they could all be saved if the winner wishes them back to life. Some agree to team up, but before they decide, the ground shakes and collapses. She's excited by this twist, not liking the teamwork idea. Along with the rabbit fighter, she plans her attack, thinking about using her endless firepower against him. As she moves to attack, she's suddenly grabbed from behind, and Usagi stabs her. Turning around, she's shocked to see the person holding her is the warrior who was thought to be dead. Now, Inanashishi is out of the competition, and Usagi takes her jewel. Even more, he uses magic to turn her and another defeated warrior, Snake, into zombies who obey him. This gives Usagi a strong team of fighters under his control. Meanwhile, 2 other warriors, Sharyu, the monkey warrior who fights calmly, and Nezumi, the rat warrior who is ruthless, decide to work together. They find a quiet place in the city's sewers to hide and plan. Sharyu admits she caused the earthquake but doesn't explain more. Another warrior, Dosuku, representing the dog and known for his biting attacks, finds a safe spot in a parking lot. His body can stop the poison from the jewel, so he's safe from that danger. Then, Niwatori, the chicken warrior who fights by pecking, finds him. She asks to team up, and they agree, especially when they learn about the necromancer. Dosuku and Niwatori focus on fighting the boar first. To get ready, Dosuku uses a special bite on Niwatori to make her stronger, so she can face the boar's zombie form. Niwatori, the chicken warrior with a troubled past and bird-controlling skills, attacks Dosuku by pecking him against a wall. She remembers how she lost her memory as a child and thinks she hurt her parents and others. Discovered for her bird skills in a hospital, she was trained to be a warrior. Now, she plans to use her bird powers against the boar warrior, her next target. With the extra strength from Dosuku, she sends birds to attack the boar, quickly defeating her. After the fight, Niwatori goes to a store for snacks and meets Nezumi, the rat warrior, who invites her to join him and Sharyu, the monkey warrior, in the sewer hideout. She agrees but soon feels uneasy and leaves, puzzled by her own hesitation to hurt Sharyu. While leaving, Niwatori encounters Ushi, the Yak's warrior, covered in blood. He seems dangerous and asks about other fighters. Niwatori tries to hide her fear, but Ushi attacks and defeats her, taking her precious jewel. Elsewhere, Sharyu, the monkey warrior, shows her unique skill of changing things' physical states by cutting a rock without a sword. Her masters on a mountaintop praise her. She finishes her training and decides to use her powers for peace, starting her journey as a pacifist. Nezumi, in the underground hideout, talks to Sharyu about Niwatori. He thinks Niwatori might be gone and that Sharyu's influence made her weaker. He believes Sharyu's way of changing people's minds made Niwatori less ready for the tough competition. He tells Sharyu not to try changing him. They end their talk, and Sharyu thinks back on her past. She helped stop many big fights and wars, but sometimes her efforts didn't work out well. Nezumi says she's helped a lot, but maybe not always the right people. Sharyu doesn't agree and believes she's on the right path. Suddenly, they hear a weird noise in the tunnel. They quickly pack and run, chased by a group of scary birds controlled by magic. They find a way out, but then face the snake warrior, now a zombie. Sharyu dodges an attack and sees they're facing more than one enemy. Nezumi joins her, and they prepare to fight the necromancer and his zombie warrior. Sharyu, known for fighting in a peaceful way, is ready to stand her ground. Nezumi is surprised she's willing to fight, but she's determined to protect herself and their mission. Dudekupo, the person in charge of the tournament, meets with a group of important guests, called VIPs. They look at how well each fighter is doing in the tournament. They think the ox, monkey, and rabbit are likely to be the final 3 fighters. Dudekupo suggests they should wait to place bets until only 6 fighters are left. The sheep warrior, who won the tournament once when he was younger, is hiding and planning his next steps. He agrees with the VIPs about the strongest fighters and doesn't want to challenge them or the weakest ones. He decides to focus on the middle-ranked fighters, the boar, dog, and horse. Sharyu and Nezumi are fighting the rabbit and the snake, which is now acting like a zombie. The snake runs away, and Nezumi chases it, while Sharyu faces Usagi, the rabbit fighter. She tries to convince him to agree to peace, but he sends his zombie birds after her instead. The sheep warrior thinks about how he's older now and needs to be smart in his approach. He didn't swallow the jewel, so he's not in a hurry. While planning, the ox warrior shows up. The sheep barely escapes and decides to offer help in removing the poison in exchange for a partnership with other warriors. Nezumi is puzzled by how the headless snake can follow him but realizes the snake senses movements through vibrations. Sharyu fights the zombie birds and the rabbit warrior, while the sheep looks for his chosen targets but instead runs into the tiger, who he thinks is the weakest. The sheep warrior tries to ignore the tiger, thinking she's too drunk and not worth his time. But the tiger, sensing him, calls him out. She's really drunk and can't see clearly, which annoys the sheep. Elsewhere, Uma, the horse warrior, is hiding in a vault, scared to face the ox. The rabbit is chasing the monkey, but realizes he's not a great fighter and thinks she can beat him. But to her surprise, he defeats her with a skill she didn't expect, and she sees the snake's head on a tree, showing how he could see behind him. Back with the sheep and tiger, the sheep, named Itsuji, plans to use a bomb against the tiger, named Tora. But Tora attacks first, showing her drunken state is actually a part of her fighting style. With 6 warriors gone, the important guests start betting on who will win. The remaining fighters are the ox, rabbit, horse, tiger, rat, and dragon. The ox is the favorite. Uma, the horse, is stuck in his hiding place, worried about the ox and the poison. He remembers the tough training that made him strong, but feels ashamed that the ox still beat him. Then, Nezumi, the rat warrior, finds him and challenges him to stop hiding. Nezumi tells Uma to leave, warning that the snake might find him there. Nezumi then sneaks away, leaving Uma to think about his next move. Uma, the horse fighter, can't decide whether to leave his hiding spot when suddenly the snake sets the building on fire, ending Uma's chances. The rabbit, who has made the monkey his puppet, sends her to get the jewel from Uma. The rabbit has 2 fighters under his control now, the monkey and the snake. The snake and dragon were brothers and used to do crimes together before joining the tournament as the dragon and snake representatives. The dragon brother always warned the snake to be careful, but the snake didn't listen and was gone before the contest really began. Meanwhile, the tiger, Tora, leaves the sheep and continues her drunken walk, looking for more drinks. She runs into the headless snake and is surprised but not too worried because of her drunken state. The snake tries to attack her with fire, but she avoids it and cuts off his hand. The snake still wants to fight, but Tora isn't interested. Then, Ushi, the ox warrior, shows up. He quickly defeats the snake and prepares to face Tora in a fight. Ushi, the ox warrior, is more focused on finishing off the snake's body than fighting Tora, the tiger. But he realizes Tora has a grudge against him. While they talk, the snake's severed hands start strangling both of them. Ushi can't escape and asks Tora for help. Tora, also struggling and coughing up her drink, agrees to Ushi's plan. Ushi throws his sword, causing sparks that set Tora's spit on fire, lighting her face up. Above them, the dragon warrior, the snake's brother, is impressed by his brother's power even after death. The dragon recalls how they were once in trouble for their crimes before joining the tournament. He defended their actions, saying they would be fighting mercilessly in the tournament, just like their past. As he watches the fight, the dragon sees Ushi and Tora free themselves using fire. He decides to join the fight but gets hit by his brother's head, thrown by the monkey warrior. Then, the rabbit slices him in half, turning him into a puppet too. Ushi and Tora see the dragon's body parts ready to fight and decide to team up. Ushi tells Tora about the dragon's liquid hydrogen. Before he can explain more, they are attacked. Tora uses the liquid hydrogen on the dragon and snake, freezing them. Ushi barely avoids getting frozen. When they think it's over, they sense another fighter. The rabbit warrior, without his zombie team, comes out. Ushi and Tora attack together and quickly defeat him. Tora, the tiger fighter, and Ushi, the ox fighter, are no longer allies. They get ready to fight each other, remembering their past. Long ago, Ushi had saved Tora, making her want to be a better warrior. She trained hard, hoping to meet him again in the Juuni Taisen, where all 12 warrior tribes would be. Tora had to convince her family to let her join the tournament. Now, facing Ushi, who doesn't remember her, she feels really angry. During their fight, the rabbit's hand attacks Ushi. Tora tries to save him but gets hurt. Ushi fights off the rabbit's parts but they keep coming back. Ushi carries Tora to safety, just like he did before. Tora, hurt and remembering the past, asks him to let her down, but Ushi refuses, saying he owes her for saving him. He tries to help her, but Tora asks Ushi to end her life to avoid becoming a puppet like the others. Ushi agrees, but only if it's a proper duel. They introduce themselves. Tora as the tiger warrior fighting with wildness, and Ushi as the ox warrior fighting methodically. After defeating Tora, the tiger warrior, Ushi, the ox warrior, feels sad. He's reminded of a young girl he once saw in battle. He tries to focus on honoring Tora as a warrior instead. Waiting for the rabbit, Ushi thinks about the rabbit's advantage as a zombie and plans to use fire to stop the rabbit's body parts from rejoining. Soon, the rabbit appears, and they fight fiercely. Ushi manages to hurt the rabbit, but then the monkey warrior jumps out and pins him down. Trapped, Ushi realizes he might become a puppet like the others. He tries to end his own life to avoid this fate, but the monkey stops him. Just then, Nezumi, the rat warrior, arrives with a bomb he got from the sheep warrior. He hesitates briefly, then sets the bomb, leaving the scene and winning the tournament. Dutakupo, the tournament organizer, congratulates Nezumi and asks for an interview. Nezumi thinks about ways to avoid it, but decides to accept. In the interview, he talks about his special ability to think of many ways to do things and experience them. He explains that he found only one way to survive and win, which became clear after teaming up with Sharyu. Dutakupo praises Nezumi's strategy and tells him to rest and think about his one wish as the tournament winner. After winning the Juuni Taisen, Nezumi, the rat warrior, goes back to school, thinking about what to wish for. His classmates don't like him much, and he briefly thinks about wishing harm on them but decides against it. When a classmate asks why he's always sleeping and seems purposeless, he jokes in his mind about wishing for her skirt to lift but quickly drops the idea. Instead, he asks her what she'd wish for, and she says she wants everyone to be happy. Nezumi thinks it's a nice idea but realizes it wouldn't work for someone like the rabbit warrior, whose happiness would be dangerous. Walking home, he considers bringing back Sharyu, the pacifist warrior, but then thinks it wouldn't be fair to the others. He even thinks about bringing all the warriors back but realizes it would just restart the whole tournament. In bed, he thinks about wishing for good health, like the sheep warrior, but doesn't want to live forever. He recalls how the other warriors had clear wishes, like the tiger warrior who wanted to be recognized by the ox warrior. When Duda Kupal asks for his wish, Nezumi, frustrated, wishes to forget about having to make a wish at all. The next day, he goes back to school, feeling content and at peace with his decision. And this brings the anime to an end. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on another video. Until next time, take care.